All right, guys. So today we decided to talk about fuck you, Sam. Today we decided to talk about the Barbie movie. It's taken over the world right now. It's kind of what everyone's talking about. So I think we had to make something for it, and we're gonna try something a little new here. But I personally loved it. I really enjoyed it. I don't think it was like the best movie ever made, but I thought it was really fun and interesting. I definitely have some problems, but I'd like to let everyone else get some words in first.
One of
Yeah,
the
I think
best
it's a kind of
marketed movies ever. Oh, sorry.
Oh, that's for sure. There's
yeah,
like a
that's
question.
absolutely 100%. I think the movie is like a net 5. Like there are some points that I didn't like, but it was kind of made up for because the movie was like genuinely really funny. It kind of all evened out. I don't regret seeing it. I think it was a fun movie to go watch with the boys. I Go see this movie if you haven't seen it.
Barbie movie is a funny movie to say. It's a fun movie to watch with the boys.
Yeah,
But it
like
is.
akin
Every
to
every night is boys' night. So
akin to J. Robert Oppenheimer and Harry Truman. They had a hard decision to make back in 1945. Arguably, this choice that we made was harder. Do we see the Barbie movie or
definitely
do we
harder.
see Oppenheimer?
Yeah.
And we saw Barbie.
what
and
effects will Barbie have going forward?
True.
That's the
How will this affect
Yeah.
the trout population?
question.
Hopefully Greta Gerwig gets to do more films because
She's a
she's
good
really good
director.
at
But
being a director.
this movie was almost really good. I gotta say, I think I might like it the least out of all of us, personally. And I guess I'll just get into it. Why?
If it ended half an hour early, 10 out of 10. Best movie
It's
ever.
not really that because
right when Ken comes home.
yeah, it's true. Yeah, whenever
Perfect movie.
whenever Ken Dom was established, they could have just ended
Whenever
it.
he walked into his Mojo Casa house, Mojo Dojo Casa house, that would have been
Yeah.
the perfect ending. Barbie
Yeah.
like
Pure
heals
utopia.
over, ends.
Because
Yeah.
my problem with this movie was that I liked ultimately what it had to say, because it
Mhm.
not only is it this deconstruction of the societal expectations that we have for women, but also the societal expectations that we have for men, and how we can mend those two together in a healthy way. Because like patriarchy, as we see, not only has negative effects on women, but also negative effects on men as well.
Yeah.
However, the avenue in which it gets to that ultimate end message,
It's a little pandering. I wouldn't even say a little.
I
It's
thought
very
was
pandering.
like just like, and I
Well-
get that it's a Barbie movie, and
But
that
what I wanted to say is I feel like the worst part, like the part that hurts it the most, is like that the real world part with that woman and the little girl. Like, because every time that was actively like part of the plot, I was kind of zoned out. Like that was the least interesting part to me. And I get
Yeah.
it, they need that, but that's always when it was pandering to me.
because subtlety is not this
feels-
movie's strong suit.
And
Yeah,
for better
it kind
and
of
worse.
it makes
For better and worse.
it makes me feel like the movie doesn't trust me to be intelligent, and I get that. Like people are kind of dumb, and the point will
Mhm.
go over their head.
I don't claim to be
They-
smart, so
It's like don't like this movie's PG-13. It's not made for kids, so don't treat me like one. It just kind of like that. That really doesn't have anything to do with like the movie being about women's issues or whatever. I think that of like any movie ever when they just like straight up tell you the point or the theme, like come on.
After watching this movie and thinking about it, it really reminds me of the Lego movie.
I've seen a lot
A
of people.
lot of people have been saying that. Like, and funny,
Yeah.
Will Ferrell's in both. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah, he plays like the same character. Pretty
Yeah,
much,
pretty
but,
much. Wait, can I say one of my favorite quotes in this? It's like super stupid, but when he's talking and he's like, "I just want to touch 13-year-old girls," and he's like, "Not like that, not like that." That's one of my that's one of my favorite jokes.
Yeah, he's really funny in this. But I feel like it tries to do a lot of the things that the Lego movie did, but it's just slightly worse. Like even when the Lego movie, like you were talking about how when they break to kind of real life, that's the worst part of this movie.
Yeah, they do it better
Like-
in Lego for sure.
Yeah, they do it so much better in the Lego movie, and they get their point across more effectively because it's not like just shoved in your face. It's just
Yeah.
about
It's complicated.
it's just added on top of the story.
it's so weird because it ends up feeling really disjointed in those parts because I get it. It also didn't want to be too long. I feel like was part of the problem. And if I could give my straight up opinion, I feel like one of the best things about this movie is that it never takes itself quite too serious. For the most part, those few parts there are the real parts where it's like, all right, you're kind of fucking it up now. But in it, like it handles its themes seriously, but it never takes the movie too seriously, which makes it like just fun to watch. That's why I think it's such an enjoyable watch. There's never a point where I was like, I'm upset I'm watching this. Like I had such a good time.
Because that's the thing is like, because my initial, like, because this movie, there's been a lot of buzz around this movie for a long time up to its release, because the sheer like just novelty of like a live action Barbie movie. It was tantalizing for a lot of people, myself included.
And the cast really pulled me in.
Especially hearing the way that like Ryan Gosling like talked about this movie up until its release.
Oh, he put everything into it.
Where it's just like the most unhinged.
If he wasn't in this movie, I wasn't gonna watch it.
And it's like,
go ahead, John.
It definitely like exceeded my expectations as to what it ultimately ended up being for the better. Because like it is overall like an enjoyable experience, and because again like. I think all the casting is great. Like I think Margot Robbie like is Barbie to me. And Ryan Gosling is Ken. But
all the guys stole the show. I will say that the 3 male characters stole the show.
Hey, how come there wasn't a fat Ken?
That is true.
Good question, Sam.
Just throwing that one out there.
You know what? One problem I have with this movie is like. They could have like the marketing was really good before the movie. I don't think they like took the opportunity to think like we could sell like the Mojo. Did they sell the Mojo Dojo Casa House after? Or like if they wanted to, they could have like made their own line of Kens that are more popular now that would have blew up if they would have handled the ending just a little bit better with that, where like the Kens went and started their own thing that's like better now. Like, that would have been, like, that's one thing I feel like they fell short of. Like, Ken had his ending, and then they were like, well, fuck the rest of the Barbies and Kens. Who cares what they're doing?
They just went back like it off easily.
No, that's the funny thing about this movie. They're gonna. There's no way they're not gonna make a Ken
well,
spin-off.
No.
And it's gonna probably be, like, terrible, but they're gonna make a Ken spin-off.
They already announced that there's, like a Mattel cinematic universe coming out.
That is the consequences of our actions.
Yeah. This is... I mean, hey, we contributed to it. We saw it.
Oh, I am contributing right now.
Money talks, and I've spoken.
I'm contributing right now. We bought 2 sets of tickets because I fucked up.
That is true. Yeah, we have to. Anecdotally, we got dolled up for this movie. We got Barbied up.
Oh,
we got Kenned up.
Ken down. Yeah.
You can see that in the short that we put out. But
Good plug.
Hilariously enough, when we got to the theater, turns out. Nate, who very kindly got all the tickets for us, had somehow managed to buy them for the day before that we saw it.
It was the day I bought them, okay? The app went back, and I forgot to switch it to the next day again.
But luckily enough, we were able to get 4 seats in a row.
So, Thank
row
God.
experience.
Yeah, we was right there.
Yeah. There's that meme, from Oppenheimer where people were watching it right in front of the screen. Feel the nuclear bomb. We did that with Barbie.
Yeah, we did feel the nuclear bomb.
We got all the energy just right in our face.
Did you see the part they cut of when Barbie punches the guy that smacks her ass? They cut Ken with Ryan Gosling screaming like a little girl, and I'm so sick they cut that because that would have been so funny. I guess we should bring up John's profile picture on how I loved Allan. I thought he was so funny. I didn't think I was gonna like that character going into this movie, but every time that there was just like a conversation going on and they would just cut to him and he'd just be standing there in the background, I was dying.
Can I just say I think I've been seeing a lot of Allan love and praise online, and I think I might be the only Allan hater on the planet because
that's crazy. Allan's the shit.
Because his whole point, right, of his character, his doll or whatever, is that he's like the irrelevant one that they cut and they don't make anymore and they don't care about. So I was thinking like, oh, in this movie they'll give him some sort of character arc to where he'll matter in the end and he'll do something.
That's the
it
joke.
Never happens. He's never anything. No, it just
on that beat. I think that happens like with the entire movie, because like the whole like, if you think of I was thinking of like the hero's journey, right? There's like the status quo, and eventually like the hero has to take journey, like has to go on a journey where that gets challenged. He goes through adversity, and he returns home. He puts in like a new status quo where it's she, sure. I say he, but she, sure.
In this case, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. I'm thinking of Ken. I'm getting
Ken actually technically does go through the hero's journey, because but
when
I also think
return...
I personally think like I get that structure is important, but I also think it's dumb to force every movie into that box or story in general into that box. Like I hate when people do that.
I get when I get that, but like, man, there's a reason it works. But like, because the movie's ending kind of fell flat for me because they return home with all the lessons they've learned, and Barbie World just goes exactly back to the same.
Well,
and
I thought
Allan doesn't do anything redemptive, and Barbie doesn't even stay in Barbie World. She goes to the patriarchy. Like, what was the point of like she doesn't? She goes to the new world and doesn't change. She just falls in line. I didn't understand.
I did think it was kind of weird.
Maybe that's just me.
I think the point was, like I said, I would have rather them like changed Barbie World, but I think kind of the point was meant to be that Barbie World doesn't change. Like, you know what I mean? Like, Barbie World is gonna just stay the same no matter what. And Margot Robbie's Barbie was making a choice. No, they don't. In the end, it goes back to the same thing. Like they don't grow, they don't do anything. There's no problems. There's nothing. She's not gonna grow up and die or anything. That's why at the end there was the whole point of like, which was the line I liked, where she was like, "Ideas live forever. People only have one ending." Like, so she was choosing to accept the fact that she will not stay the same. Because I feel like most of the message, a lot in the real movie was like, just growing up was more what it was about more than anything. Like it represented a lot of stuff. But it was actually a message about growing up and accepting that that is part of life. Like you're gonna change and learn, and just you're gonna have to learn to accept that you will not. Like for Ken, a lot of it was accepting that you don't need the approval of like a woman or something like that. Like you shouldn't only do it for the approval of specifically in this point Barbie. Like you can be a person without that. And for Barbie is that she's just not. She isn't just trying to think of a good word for it, not work. Like just her body, I guess, or just like See, I don't know what does that make sense? Just like perfect. I don't know how to explain that. Like she doesn't have to be 100. Like you will fade. Like that's like the part where she tells the old lady she's beautiful. And she's like, I know. You know?
I do think that's there was an odd point in that where Barbie's crying because she doesn't think she's beautiful. And instead, I was waiting. I figured this was just going to happen. They were going to be like, Barbie, that doesn't matter. It's about the content of your character. They just go, no, Barbie, you are beautiful. I was like, what? They straight up tell her, don't worry, you're actually beautiful. And
Wait,
she feels better.
What part are you talking about? Whenever
that's when she's at the outcast Barbie's house.
Weird Barbie.
She starts crying. Yeah, and they just tell her, don't worry, Barbie, you're beautiful. And then she feels better.
That's not what made her feel better. She didn't feel better until that stupid rant.
That's when it's a
little pandering. But it is different from what you're saying.
Yeah. No, I get it. There's part of it of like, this is clearly a movie for the ladies, not really for the fellas. There's a part of like, I don't know what women need to hear. Like when there's a story about like, like in Fight Club, how Fight Club is more like about like masculinity. A lot of the beats of the story and the narrative, I can just kind of like instinctively grab on. Yeah, you know what I mean. Like, it's easier for us to pick up on it. So when stuff like that and a lot of the like gender-specific issues come up in Barbie, I get that a certain amount of that is just going to go over my head because I haven't lived an experience like that.
But like,
I
luckily enough,
I'm poking fun at this movie.
This movie does strike a decent enough balance with providing like a positive male like message as well, like, you know, but like, and obviously like as men, like we have the lived experience of like, yeah, it's not good to be like a toxic asshole and like treat women like crap.
It's not good to be a pick-me guy, you know?
So let me get this straight.
It's good
Ken
to be
comes in.
It's good to be Ken.
Everybody enjoys life. All the Kens are happy. All the Barbies are happy.
The Barbies are obviously
textbooks. Through facts, they are happy, dude. They straight up say
They were really happy.
They're happy. They say that they're happy. They're like, isn't everything great? I hate making decisions. Have you ever asked a girl to plan a date? It's like the end of the world. They don't want to make decisions, bro. And then Barbie comes
The
in,
date's canceled
kidnaps
right then and
people
there.
into a van, straps them to a chair, and
Yeah,
then
Barbie is
straight up
kinda fucked up at the end.
propagandizes them. Dude, she comes in. They're talking about Ken brainwashing everybody. They kidnapped people.
They literally
Ken-
do brainwash.
Ken opened their
we never
eyes.
see Ken
So-
brainwash anyone. To be fair,
I know. I was wondering
never-
how long
Can I-
I could
can
just
I-
ramble real
Ken-
quick.
Ken-
I was hoping
Can I
I wouldn't
ask
trip over my words. I was
Ken
making
went
that
to the
up.
world with new and came back with new perspective and improved his
and
environment.
he
improved-
educated himself while he was in the real world.
Ken, yeah.
Barbie just cried. Barbie just cried. the
Barbie
whole
got
time.
bullied by a little girl. That's it.
Dude, that is one of my
Yeah.
least favorite parts of the movie. Can I rant about that? Like how frustrating it is that every time there isn't a teenager in a movie like this, you could tell like it is just the worst written character ever, like or dialogue ever. Like they cannot. I get it, they're an adult and it's hard to speak for like a younger kid, but like you can clearly feel the disconnect in that specific part between how that kid talks and how like real people speak in general. Like every
Yeah.
time that kid speaks, it's so frustrating.
I
'cause
don't-
It's like who talks like
I
that?
don't know.
Nobody.
She
Yeah.
sounded like your average like 15-year-old
No, she
Twitter
didn't.
No,
user.
she's
Have
way
you-
smarter.
Yeah,
Have you
yeah.
I think, and I was thinking about this a lot because it frustrates me so much. But I think where people fuck up is like they understand that kids have all this extra information now and know all this stuff, and so they think that makes them like super intelligent. They talk all intelligent. No, they fucking don't. They have all this information, but they are still immature. So you have to find that balance where they can like they talk about this stuff, but they can't really express it properly. You know what I mean? Like that's how you
Yeah.
have to do it. Like that's where like
they have to let the kids ad lib so they can talk how they normally
talk
would,
like a
you know?
kid, you know? Like they like she just like fucking throws out this whole Marxist fucking book thing. Like shut the fuck like no one talks like that.
Did you memorize that? Or
It's
what?
not that I disagree with like what she says specifically. I mean, obviously supposed to sound like kind of like she's kind of being a dick. She is, but like like no teenager in the world would spit out. They'd be like, "Fuck you, bitch!" Like that would be it. Like that's not how that conversation. They might be like you are the word, like you are a fascist. Like that might be the only word they say. Cut out the rest of that. Perfect fucking scene. Like that. It's so
Yeah.
stupid. Like
They
no one
probably-
talks like that, and it's not funny because it
Yeah.
just sounds like someone rambling at you. Like I'm doing right the fuck now. Like it's stupid.
Yeah, it sounds like someone speaking through the teenager.
Well,
It sounds
exactly.
like they're using the teenager as like a likable character to put forward a message. It's kind of what it feels like, and it's like just
It
the
doesn't,
teenager can
like-
have that sentiment. It just needs to sound right.
Well,
That's why I like one of my favorite movies is Scream, and there's like always that movie that comes out where it's like, wow, this kind of gets teenagers at the time, like, and that's how like teenagers talked in like that era, like in the 2000s, like they didn't give a fuck about anything. That was like when everyone tried to push the limits, like that was Jackass, all that other bullshit, you know. Like so people just didn't give a shit, and that's how they talked. And you can still tell that to this day. Like kids just talk like that back then.
Yeah.
And then this movie, you're like, no kid has ever talked like that in the history of humanity. I'm not at a fucking lecture right now. Like that's not real.
The movie does a pretty good job of balancing when it takes itself seriously and when it doesn't, and that's
Yeah,
one of the
I
times
agree.
I think that they fucked that up.
Well,
Yeah,
I
they're-
agree
like
for the
most of the
most part.
time, they're pretty good at like making funny ass jokes about them being like plastic or whatever, and they actually land.
Yeah.
Then when it needs to be serious, it is. But that teenager thing definitely like
Well,
kind of pulled me out. I was like, what the fuck?
I don't
Yeah,
know,
like-
because I think that moment might be a bit of a sort of microcosm of my greater issue with the dialogue in this movie. Because I don't know, I found a lot of the time it was kind of obnoxious, specifically like whenever they were like making jokes, because like some of them I thought were funny, but a lot of the time it had this like method of delivering the joke where it couldn't just be a joke. It had to just be like over
Can you name like an instance? Because I'm trying to think of what you're like trying to talk about.
Anytime like
Oh, like you talk about like in the beginning with the drinking. Sorry, like the cup type shit where like they were drinking the cup. But it's like, oh, in Barbie Land, you don't have to drink. Like I definitely feel like they over explain that stuff
anytime
a little bit.
when Barbie has like a realization about like death, for example, she's like, oh, I'm experiencing the existential dread of death, and like it could never be like
Oh yeah.
it could never
Yeah.
just be, it had to be like overly explained.
I
a lot
I
of the
can
time.
understand that. Yeah, I
and-
didn't think
Or
it
like
hurt.
when she was crying about being ugly and the narrator voice was like, "Oh, Margot Robbie was a bad pick for this scene."
Oh, see,
And
that
it's
was
like,
fun.
well,
That
we
that
all
was
see
funny. Yeah.
I like that one where she was like, "I'm so ugly," and then it's like, Margot Robbie was not a good actor for this scene.
Like when they were making fun of how like a guy will like, oh, have you seen this movie before? And he's like, no. It's like, oh, well, this is like the Godfather is this deconstruction of the
See,
gangster
I
genre. Like,
disagree.
that was funny, I thought.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say you didn't like it.
No, I
was
like
gonna be
that
I
one.
disagree because if you ever talk to a guy
guess
about the
that was-
Godfather,
that
most
was-
people will be like they fucking love it.
It was accurate, yeah.
See, that's the thing.
no,
that,
one of my
that part
favorite
actually made me mad because
Because
it's
Sam
like,
was like, "These are
this
all my
guy-
favorite movies."
This guy is clearly just like passionate about something. You're just
Yes.
kicking him while he's
But-
down.
Yes.
he
Sam,
doesn't.
but you're-
Like, come on.
Sam, but who gives a fuck? Because the point isn't that. The point is that they're like shoving it onto them. It's like it's the difference of like
She asked about it. She said, "No. What is it about?"
Yeah,
she's
because
toying with that poor Ken's emotions.
because I know you're fucking around, but I get it's
Film bro
because, like,
Ken.
If every time someone like brings something up, you have to like shove it down their throat, like you're doing too much, bro. Like,
I get the point they're making, but
Yeah.
they did not portray it well
but
because
I disagree.
It
That
came
was
off
funny.
as like
It's
the girl.
it's a matter of the difference between like Sam said, someone speaking passionately about something they like, which I personally find to be a really attractive trait, versus someone like, oh, you've never seen this movie before? What a fucking idiot! Like, you uncultured.
One of my
like-
favorite lines is, "Can you talk over the whole movie?" That's
Yeah.
like so funny. Like that's the
Yeah.
funniest part.
Yeah.
Like, hey, can you tell me? Can we watch The Godfather? And can you talk over the whole thing? Like that's the point. Is like it's, and there is guys that do that. Like
It didn't
just
develop
shove-
that way.
that scene or that I don't know, like montage they had where they were waking the women up, I guess, was really frustrating because I did think that them
Been
pulling
watching.
them away from the guys was funny most of the time. But then
they
her
meant something cool like
her lecturing them about how hard it was to be a woman, how
but that
was
goes
supposed
back
to
to the
wake up the
pandering.
Barbies.
I
Yeah,
agree
well,
that that's stupid.
That was so over the top, and also the Barbies live in Barbie land, so they have never
They don't know.
experienced any sort of oppression or
Yeah.
patriarchy or anything.
They don't
So that would
fucking
just put them
know.
more to
I didn't even
sleep.
think about that. I didn't even think about
I
that.
thought
at
about
all.
that immediately. I was like, that's not how this
How would
works.
they relate to this?
That was like, oh, it was so fucking frustrating when she just like stood up. It was like, women have to do this and women have to do that, and I was like, they don't do that though here. Like,
Yeah.
and that's the thing that so like fucks with me is like, Barbie Land is a perfect place where like it's dolls, like so nothing matters anyway. Like, and that's where it fucks with me at the end, where like it ends and then the Kens go back to being nobodies pretty much. Because it's like, had you taken like 5 seconds where it was like, things are going to be better in Barbie Land, Kens are going to get their own house now. And then you fucking like sell the house later. Like you could have made so much money off this. You took like 10 more minutes in the movie. Like they didn't even think about that. Like Kens get their own house now and they're their own brand and like they're their own people now.
Why can't
That-
both
that-
genders
five-
vote?
Five fucking minutes. 5 fucking minutes, and you could have just added that little bit, and it would have been like, all right, that's a sweet ending for Barbie Land. That they found a way to make it work together. That didn't involve them both fighting for control. You know what I mean? Like it just,
Yeah.
and it's odd.
Didn't
Obviously, that's not the fucking real world. That's not gonna happen. But it's Barbie world. That's the point.
The way
They
that,
didn't even leave it up for interpretation. Like the Barbie straight up just like because the Ken was like, "Oh, maybe we can do this too." She's like, "No, actually, you can't." Like what? What's
At
the
the end
point
of the
of this
day, though,
movie?
at the end of the day, I will back down and say, like, it's not our movie. Like, fuck it, it's funny. It's like meant to be funny. Who cares? But that would have made it better for me had they taken that 5 extra minutes for all that time they put into this storyline to just end it with a little bit of more of a message towards what it was going for. Because that's what it said, was that they can be themselves on their own, But then they're
It
just
makes
like,
the
the Kens are
movie-
going back to being nobodies. So what's the point,
It makes the women feel spiteful for the movie.
A
When
little,
like
a little,
because it
a
seems
little.
like they don't want to just like take over the patriarchy or whatever and like tear it down. It seems like they want to get back at men. Like that's kind of what it felt
I
like when they
wouldn't say
did that.
get back, but they want to put them back in the position of nobodies. You know what I mean?
because like,
like,
They want to like. You don't want them to run anything, and they
They
don't let them
even-
do it.
They even joke about them not having a place to stay That's why I was like, just fucking add the scene where they get the Mojo Dojo Casa house. Like,
See,
you know,
that-
it was
'cause-
perfect. Like, that's all you had to do. Like, just show a scene where all the Kens live in a mansion.
Got some
they,
brewskis in their
and-
hands.
and they got brewskis, and they're like, we're Knuff. They're all wearing it. They're all wearing the Knuff shirt. That would have been even funnier than just Ryan Gosling. You're like, you know what I mean? Like, that's all they fucking
See,
needed.
that's what I was kind of expecting out of the
So was
mother,
I, and it
the mother's monologue, which I know from like a general consensus, a lot of people actually really liked. But like,
I did too. I mean, it was good.
yeah,
Something I couldn't fully understand.
Again-
Obviously. I'm
again-
definitely not a mother.
again, just to not subtle enough for me. But the thing about it is like, yeah, what she's saying is like very true. And your point about Barbie Land being a perfect world, what I kind of thought was that like, yeah, like the Barbies actually kind of need this perspective from like the way that like women have been historically treated in real life to realize like, oh wow, okay, like we kind of need to treat our Kens a bit better.
Yeah,
but that ultimately doesn't really happen.
and
in
it's
the
not.
end.
But that's the thing. It's not even like the Kens are being like
They're not treated
tortured
that
or
poorly,
anything. But they also are like treated as if they don't have any identity or anything. Like that's the joke throughout the whole movie is that all the Kens are actually like the same dude.
Yeah.
And that's hilarious. I think it's so funny. But then your messages at the end is that that's not true, and then you're just like, all right, that's enough. Like it's just one more scene, and I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe there was, and it got cut down, because whatever. I mean, at the end of the day, like I said, it doesn't need it, but it would have helped it.
Point you brought up about how like she just complains about it and then like the problem is kind of fixed. That reminds me so much of like the whole meme where women will like want to rant about their day.
Oh.
Oh shit.
What the?
Yeah.
A challenger
Yo!
approaches.
he's gonna hate on the Barbie movie.
I can't
Nick hasn't
say
even
shit
seen
'cause
the
I haven't
movie.
seen it.
Guarantee he'll agree with this. When women kind of just want to like, they just want to rant about their day, and that makes them feel better. And when they do that to like their
Maybe.
boyfriend,
No, that's
their
true.
guy is like, "Oh, well, here, let me fix this," and they get frustrated about that. And our guy brain isn't wired to like just think about complaining about things.
Maybe I'm not.
Dude,
gonna
that-
try,
Sam's
yeah.
right.
Hey,
He's right.
wow, Sam, you just fucked me up,
Dude.
dude.
No, that's
No, because
literally
that shit
scientifically
like
proven, yeah.
I'll catch myself like an hour into figuring out a problem and being like, oh, she doesn't give a fuck. Like she doesn't care.
No, in
That's
real
what
life
I wanna
I do
listen.
that, but I didn't think that was like that might have been. I'm not
It
saying the
makes you so
scenes.
mad, though.
I'm not saying the scenes.
It does,
so
yeah.
I definitely
in real
take
life,
issue with the
in
scene.
real life, it's frustrating, but it does make the scene a little better. It doesn't fix it all, but I can see that making it a little better. Like I didn't even
Again?
think about that.
It could just be me being a guy, but you're right. You can't just complain about shit and then it just happens. Like you
Yeah,
actually have to.
Oh,
fix
that's
it.
why it was so fucking frustrating. Like, and then she's just like, "Wow, what have I been doing?" It's like,
Oh my god, society is
I
fixed.
was
was
like,
this
she-
woman Joker? Was this
she
female
wasn't even
Joker?
fucking talking to you. Like, what the fuck? No, this is so. What I thought was like, what made it a little better is because it's virtually the same thing. Is like through that complaining, maybe they realized like if they showed them that these guys are just fucking dickheads, like, because that's the point throughout a lot of the movie is Ken's kind of incompetent. He's just kind of like he doesn't know what the fuck he's doing, and if they like found a way to show them that, and that's what made them realize like, why am I listening to this guy right now, you know, like woke
Yeah.
them up, that would have made a little more sense to me. But like I said, like you just said, maybe I just didn't get it. Sometimes I can accept that, like maybe this one over my head, like I don't get everything, I'm not like fucking perfect.
I
but-
tried to keep that in mind when the movie would say something I disagreed with.
Oh, the
I'd be
whole
like,
time. You
this,
have
this
to.
could be me. This could be me like golden retriever braining this, when in reality it's like
You have
it's a
to,
little
you
bit
have
more.
to. It
Yeah.
is a woman a movie for women. It's not
For
that
the
men
ladies.
can't enjoy it, but it is made more for the audience of women. Most of and the problem with me, like a lot of people were like upset about that. That don't fucking make sense to me because 90% of the movies that come out are made for men. Like this is literally like if you just go back and watch movies, like how many movies where are women just useless, like just useless pretty faces. Like that's what Ryan Gosling character
Name
is supposed to be.
48.
I probably could if you let me look at a list of movies. Like I could do it. Like that's what's fucked up.
Yeah, and also like if you don't like the movie, you just don't have to
Don't
watch
watch
it.
it.
You
Don't
have to
watch
take
it.
it personal.
It'll.
Like
That's
I said, I'm probably not
Oppenheimer
gonna
came
rewatch
out.
this
Oppenheimer
movie.
came out. You could watch that.
yeah. You could just go see
That's for the
Oppenheimer.
fellas.
I will say,
No,
I
Sam.
really enjoyed
All the
this
guys
movie,
saw
so.
Barbie. All the girls saw Oppenheimer. You know.
All the
That's
bitches
true.
saw Oppenheimer.
Couldn't ignore Cillian Murphy's jawline.
Girls saw Barbie. Women saw Oppenheimer. That's the truth.
Yeah,
No,
yeah.
we each saw these movies to see two different attractive men.
I would like to add that none of us have seen Oppenheimer yet.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone here has seen Oppenheimer.
I've heard people say it's Christopher Nolan's best movie, which would be why.
I've heard
because he
it's
made
really
Interstellar.
good.
Yeah, but could Christopher
I
Nolan
doubt
make
it's
Barbie?
better than Interstellar. No, he couldn't.
Yeah,
I don't think he could.
Moot point.
I don't think he could.
I think Christopher Nolan can make Hot Wheels though.
I think
Oh
he.
my
On some
god!
real shit.
Yes.
On some
Cole-
real shit.
So
Cole,
good.
Cole is
Christopher Nolan,
our
Hot Wheels
resident Hot
movie.
Wheels fan.
Who would be the best Hot Wheels?
Yeah, who do you want, Cole? Who's your?
Who would be the
who's your
best
choice?
director?
Ryan Gosling was in Drive. You know, he's
He would
lost
be
in
great.
motion. He's-
No, we're talking about director though. Who
Cole?
would you want to direct? Dude,
A
imagine
movie
if.
full of cars.
Can I say a fucking funny ass part that I don't think anyone else laughed at in the theater? When the CEO guys get to Barbie Land and the war's going on between the Kens and they're fighting, and Will Ferrell's like, "Don't worry, nothing can hurt you." And then the dude gets shot in the arm. He's like, "What the fuck? Did I just get shot?"
That was a good ass. Dude, Will Ferrell was hilarious in this movie.
I think just the Ken battle. You know
It was pretty funny.
That was
in
probably
general.
the best.
No, when they
part
when they
of the
put
movie.
when
Ken
they
song.
when they
Ken's
push
song
their-
was pretty great,
When they push their chests at each other and then hearts start coming out of them, that was so. They're like, ah.
Especially like that like dance choreography, like when they were
It's actually good.
when they were
too.
like in their
really
in
good
like
for
the
no
black
reason.
shirt and pants, like that was actually fantastic. Which is
Yeah,
why
that's
I gotta
That's what Ben
recommend.
Shapiro wore to the premiere and then hated the movie.
Oh
That's
yeah,
what. That's exactly what it feels like to get one-itis.
I gotta recommend La La Land on one of our episodes.
More Ryan
one day.
Gosling singing. Dude, he was in. You know, he was in a
Yeah.
band.
Yeah.
I forget what the band was called, but he was in a band back in the day.
No.
Little. All right, sorry. I was gonna say little Ryan Gosling.
You're
fact
wrong.
for you. Wrong.
I did want to say, just to have like a positive thing, the joke they were making where Barbie was like, "Oh, where's the woman in charge?" and Will Ferrell they were kind of pointing out kind of the problem with having a male CEO at Mattel. And then I Googled it, and they have a male CEO in real life. So I kind of
They were making fun of themselves.
Yeah. So, I thought that was cool that he, let them poke fun at themselves. Because I'm sure he could.
I mean, he might not have known that was even in the movie. Who knows? I doubt he would care enough to see like that to get that script. And
I mean,
he's
look
a
through it.
soulless corporate
He's
entity.
probably
so.
exactly like Will Ferrell is in the movie, where he's like,
Yeah, he just
"Oh,
wants
we're
to touch-
basically getting free marketing. Okay, go
Yeah.
for it. You want to call me rich? Okay."
Oh no! Like I'm a creep. Oh no!
I'm a
Like,
weirdo.
what else, I did love the scene when like after they got arrested and they were like, "We got to change our outfits," and then they come out of the store in the cowboy outfits, like clear, like the most obvious outfits ever, and then
Dude, they were.
then the guy comes out and he's like, "You gotta pay for that," and they just haul ass out of there.
Dude, they were serving in those outfits. Like they just kind of went insane.
I thought that was like a good part of the movie because that's like a big thing for Barbies is the outfit changes and shit like that. So that was a good inclusion to like I've never owned Barbies, but I was like, oh, people that own Barbies probably really like that. You know what I mean?
You can tell that they had a lot of love for
Barbie.
like,
Yeah.
for the product. Yeah,
Not for
definitely put a lot of
Allan.
passion into it.
No, they clearly did love Allan because he was the best character. Bro, when he beats the shit out of the Kens, that is one of the funniest parts of the movie. When he's like, "Be ready for anything," and just starts beating the shit out of him. He's choking one to death in the background while they're talking. Do we feel we should do a rating for this, or just kind of
let's give it a
closing
rating.
thoughts?
just quick.
We could
yeah.
just rapid fire.
All right, I'll go first since I started. I think this movie is a 7 out of 10. Like, it's fucking super enjoyable. It falls flat in some points, but that's not a big deal. Like, I think it's definitely worth a watch. Just if you want to just go and have a laugh and see a little bit of different perspective, great movie to watch.
I give it a 5. Like I said, pretty indifferent. I enjoyed watching this movie. When I say 5, again, we've said this before. 5 is average. 5 doesn't mean bad. I know a lot of people will say
Well,
that.
beyond that, yeah.
Yeah, 5 is average. If I was one of the ladies, maybe I'd have liked this a little bit more. But some of the stuff definitely probably just went over my head.
I'd give it a 6 because I think the good outweighs the bad. It's really creative and fun in parts, and some parts are frustrating, and we kind of focused on that, but the good definitely outweighs the bad. And
I think
I'm glad I
we
saw it.
should specify we enjoyed this movie more than we hated it. Like,
Yeah, absolutely.
I think there's
Definitely
just
better than American Sniper.
definitely.
Yeah,
better than
you're
Possession.
goddamn right. It is.
You have to be.
Unironically.
You have to be
Unironically, I'd rather
willing
watch
to be
this.
critical of the things you enjoy, and unfortunately, people do gravitate to negativity, so it can get
Yeah,
elevated.
it's easier to
But-
joke about that stuff too. Yeah,
I think it's
Yeah.
easier to talk about the negative in this movie than the positive. Just it's fun,
And this
Like,
made
it's fun,
this made
it's
me
heartfelt.
excited to see what Greta does next.
Yeah.
Excited for the Mattel cinematic universe.
Yes.
fun from yeah, from white Ken to black Ken. Where do you rate this movie?
Don't give me that Jesse Lee Peterson ass question. Do you love Black Ken?
That's what he
I knew. I was like, what can I give John that's gonna trap him? Because when you said Fat Barbie, I was like, ooh, I
Do-
could give John a scale that traps him into saying something.
Do you love
that we
Black
can all
Ken?
hound on him.
My answer, Sam, is yes, Black Ken.
Oh,
That's the safe answer.
That's the real answer.
It's true. I shouldn't have done
All
it
right.
black and white.
What about pregnant Barbie to what's the best Barbie? Who was the best Barbie in the movie?
Actually, no, the correct answer is I love all Kens. So
All Kens matter.
Oh.
Not all Barbies matter. All Kens matter.
Yeah.
All right, pregnant Barbie to
why
Madam President Barbie.
are you so fixated on like pregnant
Yeah,
Barbie?
yeah.
Because that was
Pregnant
clearly
Barbie
the
or
funny.
Madam
That was
President
clearly
Barbie?
the worst Barbie. Like,
Didn't they make that joke where like everybody doesn't care about her?
did you know in
Isn't
real
John
life?
Cena a Barbie technically?
Oh, fuck.
Actually,
All right,
no.
pregnant Barbie to John Cena, Mermaid Barbie.
Actually, no. My answer is going to be Mermaid Barbie.
Mermaid Barbie.
From Dua Lipa,
Dua
Barbie
Lipa,
to
yeah,
John Cena Barbie.
Easily Dua Lipa Barbie.
Yo, shout out the goat.
Should we get Nick's rating real quick? Just to
Yeah,
hear?
we need to get Nick's opinion.
Yeah, Nick.
I don't think he saw it, but Nick, give an opinion even if you didn't.
Do
I've
you
seen
like
stuff
women?
on social media. I'd give it like a. I'd give it like a 6. Based on, like,
That's
yeah.
fair.
Based upon listening to you guys, I would say.
We're on the same
That's
page.
what it is. Yeah, you and
But,
Nicole have been vibing
We're
this whole time.
the opposite ends of the IQ bell curve of people who've spent 10 hours dissecting Barbie versus someone who spent 0 minutes. We're actually
Someone-
the same.
Someone who watched other people's opinions on Barbie.
well, no, I've seen like the Ken song.
Ton of research
what
and no
other part?
research.
Whenever
You get
Margot
the
got
same
like
result.
slapped in the ass, I saw that part. That was
That's important.
interesting.
That's very.
I was like,
Nick
what
was,
gonna do
Nick
about
was
that?
jealous as fuck. He was like, "Fuck! I wish that was me." That's the most Ken response to
Yeah,
getting
you
punched in
sounded
the
like
face.
kind of Ken there.
Nick, what's funny is Nick is the most Ken-looking guy in this group, and he's not showing it.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't worry, Nick.
Oh,
Nate will
you
slap
want
your
to see
ass.
what I look
soon.
like right now?
The
Yeah.
opposite of Ken. He's in his
Like a
pajamas.
turtle.
Shirt on.
Like a turtle. Oh my
Ah,
God.
there's Ken right there.
Tatted Ken.
He's ready for the beat.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's tattooed Ken.
He's tattooed.
Oh wait,
Ken.
which
Can there be a drug
Kens are
dealer
we? I didn't
Ken?
even think about this.
Oh yeah. Which? I guess
Which Kens
I
are
guess
you?
I'll be Allan.
John's Allan.
Can I call Ryan Gosling Ken? Because that was my favorite.
Yeah,
Ken.
Nate, you're like golf Ken. You're
Oh, I'll
country
take
club
golf
Ken.
I'm country
Club Ken.
Is this when we
Those,
argue about
uh,
who's Ryan Gosling?
That's pretty much what's happening.
He's literally me.
He's
I think
literally.
you guys got to vote this too, but I think I am Beach Ken right now.
I do think you are rocking the beach Ken fit because he has his chest out, his abs
You
out
do
the
look
whole
like
movie.
Beach Ken.
Oh, what is Cole? I'm trying to
I
think.
did see
He's
like
not
their
like-
outfit clip.
I'm
and
just like
stuff.
background character Ken. They all wore tank tops when they weren't
You-
like important.
Oh,
What was it? No,
yeah,
what was
so-
Ryan Gosling's Beach Ken's buddy? Remember the one buddy he had that was like always by his side? That's the one you look like right now because he was always wearing a tank top. He didn't really do anything in the movie, but he was
I'm
his buddy.
saying, yeah.
Yeah, he was buddy Ken.
I'm one of the Kens that was building the wall, and
No, dude, wait, we forgot about that. Was one of the
Trump
funniest fucking
Ken.
jokes. Whenever they figure out to build horizontally, we're screwed. They're just building straight up. All right, guys, good talk today.
Construction Ken.
Yeah, and if you haven't,
was like-
go out and see the Barbie movie.
yeah,
Support the
No,
Mattel.
Support
cinematic
small businesses like Mattel. You know.
universe.
If you have $15 burning a hole in your pocket, go see the Barbie movie.
Overall, it's a good time.